Well, next up we're going to actually hear from Salil Tripathi. Salil is going to be, of course, in conversation with Bernice after Bernice's reading. But Salil actually has a new book coming out. So we want him very, very much to read us something from his new book. Salil Tripathi was actually born in Bombay, India, but has lived in Singapore, Hong Kong, London, and now in New York. He is a member of the board of Pan International, as well as the editorial board of Singapore Unbound. He's also, of course, a non-fiction writer, and that's what he's going to be here as reading to you right now. Please welcome Salil.
Thanks so much, and thanks G for bringing me back to my Singapore life. I was there from 1991 to 1999, so it was a long time. I spent a lot of time, but a very, very different time, very different Singapore. I don't recognize, I used to know all the 42 MRT stations by heart, and now there are like 200 MRT stations, and all these light rails and all that. But the book I'm writing is on Gujaratis, which is what I am. That's my mother tongue. I grew up in Bombay, where there are lots of Gujaratis. But it also talks about Gujaratis abroad. And there's a section called In the Shopping Center with Passport Controls. And you guessed it, it's Singapore that I'm talking about, yeah? And so it's a longish chapter, about 20 pages, but I'm going to read two short parts from it, of which one is kind of cute and happy and one is slightly unhappy, and that's the kind of world we live in. So I'll do that. So here's the first part. In 2020, Mustafa Izzuddin stumbled upon a historical treasure while researching Gujarati nautical journeys in Southeast Asia. It was a $10 note from the 1880s, issued by the Hong Kong and Shanghai Banking Corporation, featuring the word "thus dollar" in Gujarati script. And it was a legal tender in the state settlements of Singapore, Penang and Malacca. It revealed to Izzuddin, a Daudi Bohra Gujarati who is a research fellow at Singapore's National Library, the crucial role of Gujarati merchants in Singapore, known as Kedai Bombay, or the shopkeepers from Bombay, even though Gujarati wasn't a major language spoken in the region. But it was a language of commerce. Gujarati merchants had been visiting the region since at least the 16th century, their influence peaking towards the end of the 19th. His own grandparents were involved in textile trade and other commodities like spices, rattan, gambir, tea and timber. They were vital middlemen along Singapore River and worked on Cecil Street, Arab Street, Malacca Street, Chulia Street, Market Street, along the quays. Among the earliest Gujarati trading companies was Ranchod Das Purushottam Das and Babji Lakshmi Das. In the talk that Izzuddin gave at the National Library in early 2021, he said Arab Street was basically Gujarati, with Hindu and Muslim textile traders. Gujarati merchants had established the Indian Merchants Association, and when Jawaharlal Nehru visited Singapore, he was surrounded by dozens of businessmen, most of them Gujarati, identified by their long white shirts and coats, dhotis and black caps. They did business with everyone as the Anglo-Japanese trade war worsened after Japan conquered China and revealed hunger for resources, and we had little hesitation in trading with both the parties. As the Japanese presence exploded across Asia in the 1930s, we Gujaratis strengthened ties with the Japanese. By the 1920s, a few Singapore-based Gujarati merchants had set up shop in Japan. Japanese goods were cheap, and they would undercut and British and European products. Japanese business increasingly relied on Gujarati traders such as Singapore's Maganlal Nagindas to undermine European monopoly. He opened a branch in Japan. The British did not like that, and in the late 30s, the firm was accused of treason with the Japanese businessmen, and in 1939 accused of trademark violations. There is a charming story of a Gujarati trader who inadvertently became a matchmaker that changed Singapore's history. There was a stationer's shop on Chulia Street called Basrai Brothers. The shop owner wanted stationery gum, but it was impossible to get. They enlisted the help of a young Chinese man who collaborated with his friend Yong Nyuk Lin, and they produced a substance called stick fast. By filling a cylindrical pot with tapioca flour, placed it in a wok with boiling palm oil, added carbolic acid, and stirred till the flour turned deep golden brown. It looked and smelled like beautiful caramel, the young man wrote. It was a true cottage industry, and Nyuk Lin's sister helped him. That young man was Lee Kuan Yew. Nuclear's sister was Kwa Gyokchu, who had outperformed Lee at school. Kuan Yew kept visiting Gyokchu's home long after the gum business had ended. He was smitten by her. They would go to Cambridge and read law and later marry. 2 decades later, he became Singapore's Prime Minister and would be regarded as modern Singapore's founding father and later Asia's elder statesman. Grinning as he recounted the story, Izzuddin told me, hey, it was a Gujarati who brought them together. And we are good middlemen. Yeah. And this is someone, some of you might know her, Pooja Nansi. So this is a story about her performance poem. And this is the bit which I end the chapter for Gujaratis in Singapore. Pooja Nansi's father came to Singapore in 1983. Growing up with a strong sense of being a Gujarati, she had to struggle at her school, conveying who she was, since most Singaporeans thought that all Indians only spoke Tamil. She is a poet who has been the director of the Singapore Writers' Festival. She told me she would like to learn to write in Gujarati, inspired by a poem by Sujata Bhatt. In her powerful 75-minute performance poem called You Are Here, staged in 2015 and revived in 2021, Pooja unpacks the layers of her identity. Using familiar photographs and an old radio playing nostalgic songs, Manna De's Aay Mere Pyare Watan from the film Kabuliwala, the Swedish group ABBA's Dancing Queen, and the Malay song sung every October on Children's Day in Singapore, Samoga Bahagia, composed by Zubir Said, who would also compose Singapore's national anthem. She explored displacement, unfulfilled dreams, her mother wanted to be a dancer, and experiences of racism. The performance has vivid portrayals of microaggressions, such as the conversation she has with a chatty taxi driver who is Chinese, who intrusively questions her persistently about her identity. You Indian girl, huh? Uncle thought so, but not so sure. You so fair, ma. Thought maybe Arab or what? But your Singlish, oh, quite good, la. You Singaporean? PR or Singaporean? Oh, last time you came from where? So not born here, la. So your parents? Indian, ah? So not born here, la. So you come from where? The driver was himself an immigrant. At 13, he came to Singapore with his father from Sarawak, and his father was born in China. Pooja wondered what made him more Singaporean than her. She faced other types of microaggressions. At malls, she would get offered hair straighteners, skin lightening creams, and weight loss programs. Others would ask her why she was not as dark as other Indians they knew, and experience other light-skinned Indians also had. She loves Singapore, but she feels pain that she is not loved back. She recalls her mother advising her to embrace her Gujarati identity. But societal ignorance and ridicule forced her to want to conform. Harsh words she had heard as a child continued to echo. In her performance, she speaks of coming home from school one day as her mother made hot rotlis, her fingers coated in atta and sticky bindi, and asked her, what do I say when they ask me who we are? Beta, child, you say we are Gujarati, the mother replied in the poem. But nobody knows what that is, and then they make fun of it. Last time I tried, and that Gujarati, Punjabi, Mangali, Karanguni, Gundusami, they are just being stupid, the mother said. But they are my friends, and I don't want them to make me feel, Pooja was saying, and her mother interrupted her and said, are these children really your friends? They don't sound like they are nice to you. Friends should be nice to you. Pooja was used to the Gujarati staple meal of rotli, dal, bhat and shak daily. But when she went to her primary school canteen, she was flummoxed by the offering. Mee rebus, nasi lemak and chinchaw. Her mother began packing lunch for her with doklas and masala puris. But one day, Pooja says in the performance, Amanda Chuang pointed her perfect finger at the masala puri and said, "Eee, yucks! What is this weird brown thing you eat looking like shit?" These are the ways which we try to shrink to fit between the lines. These are the ways in which we turn into untrue versions of ourselves, Pooja says in her performance. She went home and begged her mother to give her a jam sandwich for lunch every day. How much can you carry with you? Don't carry too much, you are told. Don't slow yourself down, she had said at the beginning of her performance. And she ends it saying, memories are fragile, shimmering things, not solid like the roots of trees, yet maybe the only roots I have. Thank you.